You're listening to Blitz.
Okay, here we are with what is hopefully the final in the series on the Technics RS-M250. Now, after the bias adjustment, the next thing you need to do is basically record a tape and see what happens. So what you do basically is you play a test tone through the system and then record it and then just check your record levels. Now, if we look at this, this was on the normal setting. This is my initial test. And the left channel was slightly weak, the right channel was slightly stronger. Probably not by an awful lot, but just a little bit. Enough to show on the meters and just enough to sort of hear it. So, anyway, it started off here, I adjusted it, got it a little bit better, and then I decided to switch over to metal. And as you can see, then the left channel started to dominate. And that was, quite a substantial difference. So back here, it's pretty okay on normal. Then metal really threw things out. Now the amplitude here is a little bit different, and that's just because in between takes, as I put this Edirol thing down, there's a couple of volume knobs on the side, and I tend to sort of knock those. And as you can see, I've been adjusting here. That's where I've just adjusted it so I get a level where I can actually look at it a little bit better. So we got it, this problem, and it didn't seem to really adjust out. So I posted this question to a couple of places, and only really one guy had any particular idea for me. And what it is near the selector switch for your tape type, there's actually two capacitors on either side. There's and they're actually ceramics, which I tend not to mess with because they typically survive quite okay. But in this case, the 203Ks were actually exhibiting signs of leakage. When you put the meter on it, the value just keeps rising. It just never stops. The 103 seemed okay, but anyway, that's what I ended up replacing, and that seemed to help a bit. So, full disclosure, I didn't actually end up using ceramics. I ended up using these poly films. Seems to work alright. There's probably a reason that they chose ceramics, but I managed to get the exact values easier in poly than I could find in ceramics. So the ceramics they had weren't of the right tolerance or the right voltage, or there's some issue with all of them. So these seem to work. If you can tell me a good reason why I should replace them with ceramics, then I'll put the effort in to chase them up. So, as you can see, it's still not fixed, but on this one, slightly better. There's probably a little less difference. And then I got to thinking that the only variable actually at this point that I haven't actually tried or changed was the tape itself. So all these initial tests were done with this Maxell metal UD, and then I switched over to a Sony metallic, and wouldn't you know, suddenly everything looks way better. There's a slight difference still, but it's not too bad. You can see there seems to be some sort of issue with the tape at the beginning section. Here it actually ramps up slowly, and here there's a slight bit of whatever, but that seems to be something to do with the actual tape itself. This next section here just shows you what happens if you try to record to a metal tape on normal setting. It doesn't really like it. So here we are again, just once more with that Maxell tape, and then again I've switched to the Sony, and as you can see, it's I would call that acceptable. So I'm reasonably happy with that now. So the bias is done, the tape levels seem to be done, speed seems to be under control, and I just need to now go and put it in and start trying to record some records and stuff like that on it, and just see how we go. So that's been a rather interesting, slightly frustrating journey, and it's, you know, it's always good to remember that there's more variables than you think, and you've actually got to go through all of them. And I suppose, you know, the tape was one thing that I could have swapped out much earlier, but anyway, usually, you know, if they look good and they play good, then they're good. So I don't really know exactly what the problem is, but there you go. It seems to be solved or close enough. So if there's any other adjustment needed in the future, then, you know, we've got the dial there where we can just set the balance and, you know, between left and right on the recording. So, you know, it's there for a reason, isn't it? So we might as well use it. So I hope this has all been useful to someone. I'll put all these, I think, into a single playlist, so you can actually find all the Technics RS-M250 videos in one spot. It might just make it a little bit easier.